This is going to be the most tremendous video you've ever seen in your entire life. The complete opposite of a total disaster, folks. Now, Donald Trump certainly isn't short on superlatives and exaggerations. And regardless of what you think of him, you have to give him credit. The guy is a total soundbite machine. It seems like almost everything he says is worthy of attention, whether good or bad. And there's also another thing about him that's indisputable. Donald Trump angers the hell out of a lot of people. And there's a good reason why beyond simple politics and disagreements over policy. It's the way he uses his language. And today in this YouTube video, I'm going to explain how you can use this information to help you with your marriage and your relationships. What's going on, YouTube? Brad Browning here with another marriage-saving video today. And before I get into the meat of it, I just want to tell you quickly about the amazing quiz tool that I've created at marriageguy.com/quiz. Then this is a quiz tool that's designed to determine your chances of salvaging your marriage. It takes only about 5 minutes to complete the quiz, and it's completely free. Again, if you want to take that quiz for yourself, it's marriageguy.com/quiz. So head over there after this video and get on it. All right, now let's dive straight into the goods. So like I said, some valuable lessons can actually be learned from Donald Trump on what not to do when speaking to your spouse. See, when emotions are running high, sometimes we shift the way we use our language, and often in a really bad way. So we might say things like, you never clean up after yourself, or you're always late to my sister's dinner, or you're the absolute worst when it comes to remembering birthdays. Now, do you recognize any of these kinds of statements? You probably do. This is what I like to call imprecise language, and it's really Donald Trump's specialty. Trump clearly uses this kind of exaggerated and over-the-top language in order to gain publicity and to provoke a strong reaction. And really, regardless of what you think about the commander-in-chief, this sort of language is extremely divisive. And if you notice from the examples above, this kind of imprecise language often comes out when we're angry at our spouses. Once emotions rise, we start using these superlatives and we exaggerate reality. And this is reflected in what we say to our spouse. So now think about it from your spouse's perspective for a minute. Let's say, for example, that you accused your spouse of never cleaning up after themselves. Yes, oftentimes you probably are right about that. Maybe he or she is really bad at cleaning up after themselves. But to say that he or she never cleans up after themselves is most likely an inaccurate statement, right? All your spouse would have to do is come up with one single example of him or her cleaning in order to prove you wrong. So from your spouse's perspective, what you're saying is blatantly hyperbolic, and it's clearly not a true reflection of reality. And as a result, your spouse is going to think that you're being untruthful and condescending. So how do we solve this issue? How do we make it so that you can express your grievances to your spouse without angering him or her? How can we cut down on the imprecise language and make sure that we don't escalate confrontations into earth-shattering arguments? Well, you need to start using precise language. That's right, little shifts in what you say can have a massive impact on how your spouse perceives you, and I'll explain how right now. All right, now let's use the 3 examples that I just mentioned to see how we can turn imprecise language into precise language. And that means basically language that's impossible to misinterpret. So in the first example, which was you never clean up after yourself, we could change that to something like, could you do me a favor and make sure you pick up your socks after you have a shower? That would be awesome. So you notice the difference in language? Notice how much the second statement is way more specific and positive. And finally, also notice that we've substituted the word you for I. Now this change in language might seem really subtle and unimportant at first, right? But believe me when I say that your spouse will notice the difference. Okay, let's jump into the second example, which was, you're always late to dinner at my sister's house. And in this example, we can apply the same rules we learned in the first one I just mentioned. So instead, you can now say something like, I'd love it if we were on time to my sister's dinner party tomorrow night. And finally, let's try and fix the third example, which was, you're the absolute worst when it comes to remembering birthdays. Using the lessons that we've learned so far, we can just change that statement to, I'd appreciate it if you could make an effort to remember my birthday and the birthdays of our close friends and family. Now again, these changes, they seem really subtle, right? But they actually are proven techniques that you can use right now to help reduce the likelihood of having more future arguments. And if you guys want to learn more subtle tips and tricks like this, I highly encourage you to learn more about my dispute diffusing system. And I talk a lot about that in the free video presentation that I've created and put up on my website. You can watch that at marriageguy.com. So head over there, marriageguy.com, and watch that video at any point after this to learn how you can use some of those subtle tactics to help save your marriage. But for those of you who are in a real bind and you think you probably need real personalized marriage advice right now, and you don't want to shovel out, hundreds or even thousands of dollars on counseling and couples therapy, you can hire me to be your personal marriage coach. So for more information on my marriage coaching program, just head over to marriageguy.com/coaching, marriageguy.com/coaching, and you can read on that page about how you can register for my coaching program today. All right, folks, that is all for this video. Hopefully these Donald Trump-inspired tips will help you make some small improvements in your marriage today. I'm looking forward to hearing about your success in the comments section below. Thanks for watching and take care.